All I've been seeing on Twitter for the last couple of days since the Nets lost game 4, and we didn't know who was going to be playing for them in this game 5, if Kyrie was going to play, if James Harden was going to play. All I've been hearing is, can KD carry his team to win? This is the biggest game of KD's career. His legacy is on the line. And I'm here to tell you, KD answered the bell more than we could have even asked him to do so, man. I don't want to be stuck in the moment, but this might be the best playoff performance I've seen with my own two eyes. And I've seen some games. Man, but this might be the best playoff performance I've seen with my own two eyes, man. 47 points, 17 rebounds, 10 assists in a critical game 5 when you're playing without Kyrie Irving. James Harden might as well have really not been on the court because he didn't look 100%. He looked as far away from 100% as he could have possibly been. And KD put on one of the best performances I've ever seen, man. Welcome back to Rick Knows Hoops. I'm your host, Tyreek, as always. Be sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're new. It's a place where we talk NBA basketball, so if you love hoops, this is the place for you. And like I said, Kevin Durant might have just put on the best playoff performance I've seen with my own two eyes, man. And like I said, I've seen some games. I've seen LeBron James go into Boston and drop 45 and 15 with his legacy on the line. You know, that was back when LeBron didn't have any rings. I've seen Kobe Bryant have ridiculous playoff games. I've seen guys like Steph Curry have great playoff games. Kawhi Leonard has had great playoff games. I've seen, James Harden. I've seen so many great playoff performances, but this was one of the most efficient scoring, assisting, rebounding, defensive clinics I've seen from a player in a while. I mean, man, KD, he did it all tonight. And this was just a big game, man. 2-2 series, game 5. James Harden's not 100%, even though he did play tonight. Kyrie Irving, we don't know if he will touch the floor the rest of the series. We have no idea. All the pressure was on KD. He played every single minute of this game. All the pressure was on KD. I can only imagine what they've been saying on sports talk shows and stuff. But I'm on Twitter a lot, and people on Twitter were saying the last couple of days since they lost game 4 that this is the biggest game of KD's career. His legacy's on the line. He can't carry a team. He can't do this. He can't do that. I'm here to tell you he can, and he did. And if this is the biggest game of his career, he had the biggest performance of his career. I'm here to tell you that. And I was one of those people, I was kind of skeptical if the Nets could win this game. And that was because of the way that they defended KD after Kyrie Irving went down in game 4. And it's tough when you're playing with your co-star, and then all of a sudden he's out for the rest of the game. It's hard to adjust on the fly to that. Against a really good team. The Bucks are a very good team, and they're a very good defensive team. It's hard to adjust on the fly to that kind of situation. And they were throwing a lot of double teams at KD. He did start to get going in the third and fourth quarters, but none of his teammates were hitting shots when he was making the right pass. Nobody was hitting shots. This is an unwritten rule in NBA playoff basketball. At home, your role players always play better. That's a known fact. Your role players always play better at home. And tonight was a testament to that. Jeff Green, Uncle Jeff, shout out to my guy Jeff Green, 27 points. And in the third quarter, he was hitting big shots that really helped spark this run because the Nets were down 17 points in that third quarter. Jeff Green was making big shots in that third quarter. They were leaving Brook Lopez on him, and he was making them pay. Shout out to Jeff Green, also playing amazing defense on Giannis all game long. One of the most underrated pieces to this Brooklyn Nets team. Got to give Jeff Green his credit, his love. And then Blake Griffin played really good basketball today. I don't know if I've been able to say that much since I've started this channel, but Blake Griffin played really good basketball today. He was hitting 3-point shots. He was playing really well. He was making good cuts. He was finishing in the paint. He was playing solid defense too on Giannis. Blake Griffin had a really good game. And even as bad as James Harden was, scoring the ball, it definitely wasn't James Harden. He was still doing things like making very good impact plays, as far as playmaking goes. He had a couple of really good defensive possessions on Giannis in the fourth quarter. some very good defensive possessions. Got to give a lot of credit to James Harden there. And just having him on the court, the gravity of having James Harden on the court took a lot off of KD and allowed KD to really be in his full bag. Landry Shamet hit some big shots too. Got to give a lot of credit to those guys. Bruce Brown made some good plays on the defensive side. He's known as a defensive specialist. He made some very good plays. Got to give a lot of credit to the net supporting cast because it was the KD game, but you know, you don't get 10 assists if guys ain't hitting shots. Jeff Green was hitting shots. Blake Griffin was hitting shots. Landry Shamet hit some shots. You got to give a lot of credit to those guys for stepping up in the biggest game of the season. This is a game 5, 2-2 series against a team that just won 2 straight games. They have a lot of momentum, and you know, the role players along with Kevin Durant came through in the biggest way tonight. Got to give a lot of credit to those guys. But if you miss this game from KD, it was a clinic, man. I kind of looked up and I didn't realize he had 40 until they said it on the telecast because it just looks so easy. It's so efficient. Like, it doesn't look like he's working hard to get his 40. And you know, KD's known as one of those scorers. It's effortless, but he's one of the best, if not the best, you know, we've ever seen in the NBA. I would say he's the best I've seen as far as it comes to scoring the basketball. But this was a legendary performance. Came up in the biggest way in, I guess, the biggest game of his career. But Kevin Durant, if y'all didn't know, he's one of them dudes. If y'all didn't know, he's one of those dudes. And he's playing like the best player in the world right now. So I just got to give a lot of credit to Kevin Durant. Especially after that game 4, because game 4 was a little rough. But he made the adjustments. His teammates started knocking down those open shots. And, you know, when guys are hitting shots, you really can't double KD because he knows how to make the right pass. He's improved as a playmaker as his career has gone on, not just a scorer. And then also on the defensive side, he was really good on the defensive side. When he got on the switches on the Jrue Holiday, he was playing amazing defense. I mean, Jrue Holiday he couldn't do anything with Kevin Durant. He was guarding Chris Middleton very well after, you know, Chris Middleton had a really good first half. Yeah, the game really swung in that third quarter, and the Bucks really got out of their element. They were playing good team basketball in the first half, and really, you know, I would say about 4 or 5 minutes into the third quarter, and then they got away from that. It was a lot of isolation from Giannis, a lot of isolation from Jrue Holiday, and Chris Middleton was trying to get his. PJ Tucker got into foul trouble. There was just a lot that, you know, they just got away from what they were doing so well in that first half. And that might be because of the pressure of, you know, the Nets and KD, Jeff Green starting to heat up offensively. And then you just feel like, okay, we just need a bucket here. But, you know, they got away from their brand of basketball, which got them to this point, to being up 17 on the road in a critical game 5. Giannis was really good for most of this game, but I think when it mattered the most, you saw the deficiencies in this game. The inability to just get easy shots. I mean, everything's downhill. Everything is 110% going to the bucket. When you get into close games down the stretch in the playoffs, that stuff don't work all the time. And especially when you're not a really good free throw shooter. You missed some free throws down the stretch. I think he ended up shooting like 4 for 7 or 4 for 8. But, you know, the free throws he didn't miss were key. They were late in the game. They were key. They meant a lot to, you know, the final outcome. And, you know, I just think this series is not over by any means. We don't know if Kyrie's coming back. And if he does come back, he's probably not going to be 100%. James Harden has 2 more days to hope his hamstring gets a little bit better. But if he looks anything like he did tonight, it's not going to be a great sign for the Nets. And then you got to go on the road. And like I said, you know, typically your role players don't play as good on the road as they do at home. You can't bank on a Jeff Green 27-point game or Blake Griffin getting 17 or Landry Shamet coming off the bench and hitting shots. You can't always bank on that stuff. I mean, you can bank on KD to have a very good game at, you know, the minimum, but, you know, you can't bank on a legendary performance every game. So, I mean, this series is not over by any means, but the Bucks really have to get back. I mean, I think they blew an opportunity. This could be one of those deflating type of losses, and, you know, they really blew an opportunity in this one to go up 3-2 and to put even more pressure on the Brooklyn Nets. And I think they really blew an opportunity. Coach Bud has improved as a coach in some ways, but in other ways, his rotations are still very weird. Like I don't know why. But I don't know if Bobby Portis got minutes tonight. I don't think he did. I don't think Bobby Portis got minutes. And I think when Jeff Green was killing you like that, you got to get, you got to kind of match him. You got to downsize because Brook Lopez was getting killed. And I know Brook Lopez is a pretty valuable player to this team, but he was getting killed. And Bobby Portis has been very solid defensively in this series. And he's like a top three-point shooter in the NBA. It would be nice to get him some minutes, but instead you give those minutes to Thanasis Antetokounmpo, Giannis's brother. You give him those minutes, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with giving them his minutes. And then I think Elijah Bryant got minutes. I didn't even know who Elijah Bryant was until Game 4. Call me a casual, I guess. I didn't know who he was until Game 4. Why is he getting playoff minutes in a Game 5, a critical Game 5? Why is he getting playoff minutes, Coach Bud? Why is he getting playoff minutes? Just weird. It's weird stuff like that. And then I feel like he didn't really manage when the Nets were making a run. Like, I don't really recall him calling a timeout, during that time. You would like to see that. Or, maybe, run some set actions to get some good shots. Because, like I said, they were ISO ball heavy. And the Nets offense was free flowing. I mean, like I said, KD had 10 assists. He was making the passes. It wasn't just KD doing his thing. James Harden was also dishing out assists like he does so well. So, while the Nets were playing more of a team-oriented style, the Bucks reverted to ISO ball, which is not their style. It's not what got them here. It's not what got them back into the series. And then, this is the result. KD has an epic performance. You lose a game that you were up 17 points. And now you're going home in an elimination game to try and save your season. Like I said, series is not over by any means, but now all the pressure is back on Milwaukee. They have to perform. And I think the Nets have shown that they can compete in Milwaukee. I mean, they almost won Game 3 with KD and Kyrie having terrible games. And Kyrie gets hurt Game 4. We don't really know what would happen if Kyrie would have been healthy. But there's a chance that they could have won that game too. So, I mean, we don't know who's going to be on the court for the Nets, but Game 6 is going to be a fun one. It's a critical one for the Bucks. It's a critical one. I think Giannis really has to respond because he was not good down the stretch in this game. You want your MVP to be the best player on the floor down the stretch, and the better MVP tonight was Kevin Durant. And he put on one of, if not, the best playoff performance I've seen with my own two eyes. I'll say that much. Yeah, give KD his flowers. He can carry a team. Twitter can calm down. Nets haters can calm down. KD haters can calm down. KD, Jeff Green, shout out to y'all for having big time performances. And the Nets up 3-2. I'm out, y'all. Peace.